Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Any Move In on Tuesday night. And tonight I'm joined by Tom Barnes, my co-host, and we're joined by Lorraine Rizzo. Good evening, Lorraine.
Good evening.
Apparently, we had a bit of an issue. Mickey was going to be with us tonight, but he's off fighting someone else's battles with him today, isn't he?
He's on his way home, last I knew.
Oh, that's great. And I understand they've had a very good day as well.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah, very productive.
Excellent. So it's lovely to speak to you, and it's great that you've got over here in the UK and spent a bit of time with Mickey, because you've been apart for an awful long time, haven't you?
11 months.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yes. I'm not happy.
Well, obviously not, no. I believe you mentioned something before. The thing they need to be most afraid of is a pissed off Sicilian woman.
Oh, yes. I haven't got pissed off yet since I got here, but that's good for them.
Uh-huh. And I believe tonight you've come on to talk to us about how the survivors of child abuse, how their experiences affect their family.
Yeah, I guess the term they're using now is secondary survivors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good term. Or is it? I don't know. What do you think?
I think it is, because I'm surviving through all the BS. I don't know how much I can swear or not swear.
Mm. Well, it is a bit early, so
yeah.
The odd one might slip out. We don't worry about that.
Oops.
Exactly, yeah.
So what's it been like, Lorraine, dealing with it?
It's been hell. I mean, that's the best way I can, shortest way I can explain that part. It's been hell. Not only has this caused us to be separated, not by choice, but it's taken its emotional toll on both of us. In my own case, I've had to go on depression meds, and after the loss of my dog in December, the doctor had to up my meds. It causes very negative thoughts, and not I was thinking about death. The things that people that are depressed think about. And I've had to come all this way without any... Now, mind you, I'm not complaining about not having money, but I came all this way without money because my husband's here, and that's more important. Wow. Even when he's here or when we're together, we're not, because his mind and his attention is somewhere else. That's what happens with secondary survivors. You're there to support the person that was the victim, but you in turn become a victim and a survivor, because you have to be strong enough for both of you and not take it personal when they're completely ignoring you while you're right there. It's like you're alone, but you're not alone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling. Thank you, Nottingham Councils. Notice I was being facetious there.
Yes, I mean, can you bring us up to date with what's happened recently with Mickey since he last came on and spoke to us? I mean, he gave us a brief update last night on Spreaker, but a lot of the listeners on PIR won't have heard that.
Do you mean with his own case, or update in what context?
Just what's been happening in general, Lorraine, really.
Oh, well, he's been still fighting, getting the information that's needed and getting it out there. And he's taken on not only his stuff, but everybody else's, because it's so widespread. They tried to sweep it under the carpet, but that didn't work. And now that it's becoming more in the public eye, his fight has been extended. And it seems like we're no closer to the end, but we are. It's just that the group became bigger.
Uh-huh.
It's hard to explain, but I haven't seen any end in sight myself.
No. Except
they have made steps forward in public awareness. Before, the UK thought it was just places like Rotherham. When they found out it's a lot more widespread than that. And it's not just the handful of 15 or 20 odd people that Operation Daybreak started with. It's now over 200.
Yeah.
And that's because of, I think, 90% because of Mickey. So that's the best I can say. And I don't know the legalities and the meetings he's been in before I got here, because I've only been here since Thursday, I think.
Yeah, it's Thursday morning you flew in, wasn't it?
Yeah, Thursday morning.
Uh-huh.
I just got over the jet lag. That's why I forgot what day it is.
Oh, I forget what day it is all the time, and I haven't been on a jet plane for 20-odd years, so don't worry about it.
The other night with the wine, that contributed to me forgetting a lot of stuff.
Oh, yes. Was that the lovely dinner you were having that we so rudely interrupted to get you to come on Spreaker and have a chat
no,
with
that
us?
was before that.
Oh, jolly good. Oh, well, the more wine, the better. It's therapeutic. It's good for you, a drop of wine.
I'm Sicilian. It ends up being more than a drop.
I was just trying to be kind there.
No need to be kind. I was raised on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, water down the wine and put it in the baby's bottle. No, I'm just kidding. That was back in the 60s.
That's what my grandmother used to say. Rub a little whiskey on the gums.
That's what my father always did to us.
Well, they used to give children gripe water, didn't they? And that was quite high in alcohol, from what I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, and there was a medicine way before I was born. I can't remember what it was called, but I've seen pictures of it on the bottle where it said some kind of cough medicine. It contained cocaine.
Yeah.
And they says, it'll cure this, this, and that. And I thought, yeah, it sure will. Too much of that will cure a lot of things.
Even if you've still got it, you won't give a damn, will you?
Yeah. I'm still sick, but I don't care.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. It's been really, really hard, more than just being separated from Mickey, is trying to another thing that secondary survivors go through is they try to handle their own stuff by themselves, because you can't share what's bothering you or a problem that you may have, whether it be a bill or a neighbor or depression. You can't share that with the victim because they can't handle it.
Yeah.
They can't handle it. They either overreact if it's something minor, or they try to take it on themselves when they can't take care of their own feelings. And sometimes it gets blown off and blown to the side, like put on the back burner. That's why you can't take it personal. And you just have to keep it to yourself and handle their stuff and your stuff, and nobody's there to help you.
Excuse me, having a bit of a coughing fit there. Need to get some of that Manuka honey down me. Yeah, so what's happening next with Mickey? We've been told that there's an inquiry in the pipeline, but there's a few questions been raised about that recently, isn't there?
Yes, there's an inquiry in the pipeline, but nothing. I don't see it moving forward yet. Mm-hmm. And the so-called I think they call it independent public inquiry.
Yeah.
Isn't so independent if you're inquiring and discussing something that, let's say Nottingham City Council is doing. If they're the ones that the subject is about, then they shouldn't be part of the inquiry. It would be like a thief or a murderer investigating their own case with the police.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, it's exactly the same with the police. The police investigate themselves. They call it an independent group.
Yeah.
But it's far from independent.
Yeah, it is definitely not independent. So I think that's just another one of their ways to put a roadblock into progress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do seem to be putting roadblocks in the way at every turn.
Oh, yes.
I mean, we've
like,
only...
the other day, Mickey was supposed to meet somebody. I can't even say a name because I forget who it was. He was supposed to hand them some evidence. He had a couple pieces of evidence, and they were supposed to meet him, and they stood him up. They never and they never met for the evidence.
Oh, that was the lady at West Bridgeford. Well, I use the term lady loosely, but at West Bridgeford police station, they locked the police station up and wouldn't come out, didn't they?
Yeah. That whole mess there.
Mm.
Don't get me started on that.
Oh no, we've got a whole hour.
I've noticed since I came here that even though there's good and bad on both sides of the Atlantic. Wait a minute, is that the right ocean? I'm bad on geography. Yeah, Atlantic.
Yep.
Even though there's good and bad on both sides, the two things that I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around here is how the government can condone and try to hide sexual abuse of any kind, and then put it on the victim. And the other thing I can't wrap my head around is how the government can steal someone's house. It just boggles my mind.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, what's been going on with Tom Crawford in Nottingham, and we were actually hoping to have Mark Salon on to talk to us tonight in the second hour, but what with one thing and another, I believe Mark's on Graham's show straight after us, so I had fired a quick message over to Mark, and we've actually got Tom himself coming on to speak to us in the second hour, so we'll
awesome.
Get the inside information on that one.
Yeah, the people that are responsible for changing, I don't know who it is, for changing the terms of them, I might be misusing the words, the terms of the mortgage without telling the Crawfords, they'd end up in federal court and then in federal prison. Oh, sure, they'd be out on bail till the sentencing, but they'd end up in federal prison. That wouldn't fly in the United States.
So what other differences have you seen in the way that things are handled in this country compared to the States?
Well, I mentioned the housing and the sexual abuse. The other thing I noticed that the U.S. is a little bit ahead of England on is disability rights and handicapped accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
Every building, every corner is handicap accessible. If it's not, they would be in violation. They're a little bit behind on handicapped rights, which I'm a big supporter of because my profession before I got hurt on the job was working in group homes with mentally challenged adults with behavior issues.
That must have been quite a tough job.
It was very tough. Rewarding, but tough. I got my share of punches here and there.
I remember when I was at college some years ago now, and in the event of a fire, the escalators were switched off, and all the disabled people had to go basically to the escalator and just wait there and burn.
Well, how the heck would that have worked? That's real, yeah. See what I mean?
I remember our lecturer at the time saying to the disabled guy in the wheelchair, you have to go to here and just wait for somebody to rescue you. But obviously, in the event of a fire, I'm going to pick you out of that chair and we're going to carry you down.
Yeah. Yeah, our first thing to do was to get them out, no matter how we had to do it. So, and
I think In this country, it's very stuck in the past. It's very stuck in history. It's a strange thing. We pride ourselves on having the oldest of everything, the oldest trains and the oldest sewage system, everything. It's just ridiculous. Everything always breaks and they wonder why, because it's ancient.
One of the things I like over here, because I don't want to sound all negative, is the way they do build up some new buildings around old without knocking the old down, preserving some history. It doesn't always happen in the States. I'm trying to think of the name of that building where I first noticed it on my first trip to England. I can't think of the name of it. Well, it'll come to me after we hang up.
Mm-hmm. Always the way.
But there was this new building all up around this little old building with short doorways. Oh, God. I hate that when I can't think of it. Was it Shakespeare? No, it wasn't Shakespeare. Oh, well. Anyway. What else would you like to know?
Just whatever you'd like to tell us about your life with Mickey and how this has affected you.
Well, my life with Mickey is wonderful because that's what you do when you love somebody. You take the good and the bad, and I knew full well what I was getting into when I married him. Mm-hmm. You don't hold, someone's past or victimization against them for a reason for not loving them. But it's been wonderful. I took care of him the best I could in the States and vice versa. He was on my medical insurance. He had great medical insurance when he was in the States. That's another thing that's better. I could call today for an appointment if I wrench my knee, and I could be seeing my doctor tomorrow. That doesn't happen here. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's been hell being apart from him, and I'm only here till the end of September, and then what? Then I got to be apart from him another year? It's not fair.
No, absolutely not. Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that, and you'll be able to be a bit closer to a resolution by the time you have to go back, Lorraine.
That would be nice. And another thing that victims forget when they're dealing, where the family's concerned is, like I said, they're so focused on their stuff. I'm not going to name the specific incidents I'm thinking of, but let's say Mickey had to go out to a meeting at the council building at Loxley House, mm-hmm. and I asked him to bring home a gallon of milk.
Yeah.
He'll go to the council house and come home without the milk. Or if you ask him to stop and pick up your and he doesn't do it to be mean. It's just he's got so much on his mind. It could even be medicine. Stop and pick me up some paracetamol. He'll go to his meeting, come back, no paracetamol. Or I was just using that for an example. It happens quite often too. It's like he reminds me. This is kind of funny, actually. Today he's been reminding me of not Thomas Edison, Albert Einstein. Because Albert Einstein was this brilliant man, and he was disorganized. He looked disorganized to you and I, yet he knew where everything was, and he knew the answer to everything. What's the word I'm looking for? He's like one of those savants. It reminded me of. He knows what he's doing. He knows all this stuff, yet if you tell him where something's located, you have to write down the directions or something. Yeah. I'm not making any sense, am I?
No, that just sounds like a description of me. Send me out for go and do something and something else. I remember the first thing, but I'm damned if I can ever remember the second one. Yes,
exactly.
As well, when I go shopping, I have to have a list now because otherwise I forget everything. If I take a list, I only forget half of it.
I've done that a couple times with Mickey, and then he loses the list.
Good old Mickey. He's got a lot going on in his little bonce there. Yeah,
I know.
I mean, I've got nothing for admiration, but for guys like Mickey, the work that they're doing is incredible, and it's really starting to look now like they're going to get some kind of a result with it all.
It is looking like that. I don't know how long that will be, but it's looking like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we just need to keep the pressure up, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, if you don't keep the pressure up, it'll get swept under the rug like they try to sweep their pedophiles under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, let's sweep this under the rug. Pay off this victim. Maybe they'll keep their mouth shut.
Yeah.
When it makes them look worse instead of better.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I just want to give up.
It's quite understandable feeling like that. It must be really, really difficult.
Yeah, I mean, he's been back here 11 months. And again, I understand why, because he's on a mission.
Uh-huh.
But he's back here 11 months, and if I were planning to move here, which I had wanted to 6 years ago when we got married, but he wanted to move to the States. If I was about to move here, I wouldn't be able to, because he hasn't even made one phone call in regard to it. Because it's all been Nottingham.
Yeah.
Sometimes he forgets doctor appointments because he's on a Nottingham mission.
Yeah.
Forgets to take a medicine because he's on a Nottingham mission.
Mm-hmm.
Forgets to call me because he's on a mission.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's, God forbid, dead in a ditch.
Mm.
Forgets to check in. Hasn't done one thing, though, regarding me moving there or him moving there, whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm not complaining because I understand. I'm just trying to give people a picture of what it's like for the families of survivors.
Yeah, that's great, Lorraine, and that's what we're trying to get at. It's
a lot of people would have separated by choice by now, but I told Mickey he's not getting off that easy. I don't care if it's 3,800 miles. I'm off that easy.
What keeps
6 years for nothing?
What keeps Mickey so motivated? Every time we talk to Mickey, he's always smiling. He always keeps going. What keeps him motivated? What does he see as a success? Because it must be the smallest things that he sees as success.
Oh yeah, I mean, since I got here, like he told a couple people, and we were in a pub. Was it last night or the night before? I think it was. And he says, "Have you ever seen me smile this much?" He's just happy I'm here now because, it was like I said, a forced separation.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I think what keeps him motivated is seeing that who his true supporters are, of his family and friends and me, even though 3,800 miles separates us, I'm his biggest supporter. And I think that motivates him.
Mm-hmm.
Have you got the radio on in the background, Lorraine?
Oh, no, I'm hearing something.
Yeah, is it you, Andy?
No, I haven't got anything playing in the background.
I can hear it very faintly. Somebody's just picked it up on the chat room as well.
No, I was just checking. I haven't got Richie Allen playing in the background because I was actually...
I don't know what that was.
I was actually having to listen to Mickey on Richie Allen on Monday night before we came on air.
Oh, what are they replaying the last night's?
Yeah, I was just having to listen to the replay of that. Yeah.
Oh.
But no, that sounds a lot better. It sounds like we've lost it now.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
No worries.
Well, neither here nor there, but that's the gist of it.
It was probably the GCHQ or the NSA. They'd probably got a radio on in the background, forgot to turn it off while they were listening in.
Oh, it could be. Like, oops, they found us.
Yeah.
Oops, they blew our cover. But, go ahead, ask me another question. I can't think of anything else.
Well, we'll just, I was just saying what keeps him smiling, what keeps him moving forward.
I would have to say I keep him smiling.
Mm-hmm.
I allow him to smile. No, I'm just kidding. Any progress forward without taking a step backward keeps him smiling. He gets his hopes up, and if they're dashed, then it's like a big drop off a cliff.
Yeah.
But whenever there's a step forward without a step backward, he's smiling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I often get calls from Mickey not expecting it at all, but he always calls me and keeps me updated with what's going on. And I know, I'm just trying to think when we were told a few weeks back they got the announcement that there was going to be an inquiry in Nottingham. The same day, Mickey was told by Paddy Tipping that Melanie Shaw had been released from jail. And then we found out a few hours later that that wasn't true. And his response was that, well, he was given misleading information. Well, if you're the Police and Crime Commissioner, then surely you ought to be getting fairly reliable information.
Doesn't Police and Crime Commissioner mean like you're one of the top men?
Supposed to,
like
as far as I'm aware.
Like one of the bosses?
As far as I'm aware, it does, yeah.
I would think that you would have to know what's going on in your police force, your company, whatever.
Uh-huh.
You'd have to sign the file papers. That would be like the warden saying, oh, I don't know where that prisoner is. Last I knew they were eating.
Yeah, well, to me, that when that happened, I saw it as another one of these situations that seem to occur so often. When there's some positive news comes out, they always make damn sure they've got some really, really disheartening news to go with it.
Yeah, they just give you a little nibble, like a fisherman throwing a bait into the water to draw the fish towards the boat, only to take the bait away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a question just came in to ask you, Lorraine, about the database of paedophiles in the USA and why we don't have it here in the UK.
Oh my God. When you get a chance, Google New York State Sex Offender Registry. Click on it, click search. I'll just give you something to start with. Click search, and then it'll say you can search by name or by zip code, which is postal code. Type in my zip code, 14620. Then it'll bring up the list of all the pedophiles just in my zip code. One postal code out of many. Click on any name you want, and it'll bring up all the details.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why the UK doesn't have that. I don't know why they think, oh, it's the right. What right does a criminal have? Aren't criminals supposed to be punished? Aren't they supposed to be a matter of record? Oh, don't get me started on this subject.
Well, it appears in this country that yes, criminals are punished, but only until you've got so far up the greasy pole, or you're a member of Parliament or the House of Lords or the aristocracy, then, no, we can't punish those people. They're above the law.
It's not... Okay, I hope this isn't bad to say on the radio, but it's not who you... I can't say it.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
How about if I leave off the last word? Let me just tell you it rhymes. It's not who you know, it's who you blank.
Uh-huh. I presume that would be blow then.
Yes. It's not who you know, it's who you blow.
Yeah. Yes, it does seem that way. I mean, we've just seen Ben Fellow's court case is ongoing at the minute, and from what I understand, there's been some very dubious reporting of that. They're reporting certain parts of what happens in court, but not other parts.
Yeah, it seems like the powers that be favor the offender over the victim.
Yeah, and they do, especially so when the offender is one of their clique.
It's the Masons all over again.
Mm-hmm.
So if this was reversed and this was in the US and this was a local authority, in one of the states in the US. How do you think it would be differently handled?
First, the person would be arrested. First they'd be picked up. They'd be investigated. They'd be arrested. They may not be allowed out. They may be arrested till they make bail. Then they would be suspended with pay. And then if the evidence is overwhelming, suspended without pay. And then once the guilty verdict comes in, they're fired from their position and they're incarcerated. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not saying this kind of stuff, obviously child sexual abuse, for example, happens all over the world.
Yeah.
It's just, we don't put up with it.
We
name them and shame them. That's what we do.
One of the most famous cases recently was the Sandusky case in America.
Yes.
He was protected for some time. A blind eye was turned to him for too long.
Yeah, I can't remember the specifics of it, but yeah, he was, I believe it was young boys.
Wasn't he a coach? A football coach?
Yes, he was a coach of the Syracuse, I want to say basketball team. No, or was it Pennsylvania? Well, anyway, he was a coach, and it was young boys. He's in jail. Mm-hmm. Bernie, I think his first name is Bernie Sandusky.
Yeah, that rings a bell, Lorraine.
Yeah. But seriously, when you get a chance, Google New York State Sex Offender Registry, click on it, click search, then go by my postal code. I'm using postal code. We call it zip code. 14620. That'll bring up all the sex offenders in my zip code. And click on any name, and then all their details will come up, including a picture.
Really? Yeah, we do seem to have things geared too much in this country towards the rights of the offender. The victims, well, okay, they get their moment in court if they do, but then after that, sorry, who cares? All the support seems to be for the perpetrators.
The officials here. Let's say, God forbid, a 10-year-old girl was raped. I could just see them blaming her and saying, "Oh, she provoked. She was being provocative." Don't get me started. I'm getting pissed off the more I talk.
It's understandable. It is a very dark subject, Lorraine. It's never an easy one to handle. And
no, it's not.
Must be
and
more so when it's touched you personally.
Stuff going on this side of the pond. I have a granddaughter that it happened to. The guy's in jail now. Uh-huh. And she was only 7.
Wow.
So,
nice.
Yeah, they didn't take long. They put him right in jail. He got, I think, 7 years. And then he has to register as a sex offender.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we have that over here, but it doesn't seem to be doing an adequate job in deterring these people, because well, you mentioned the Masons earlier, but it seems these rings of paedophiles, that they are infiltrating high levels of all kinds of organisations, and there's a good chance that Freemasonry is a part of that.
Yeah, there is a good chance. They should arrest these people and put them in the general prison population, because I believe it's the same the world over. If there's one thing imprisoned fathers don't like, it's somebody that's a child molester. Let them take care of them. Save the taxpayers money.
I've just had my lovely assistant hand me a little note, and she's just done that search on the zip code, and she said there are absolutely loads of them.
Yes, and that's just one zip code.
Yeah. Type
in 14613 and 14621. I think 14621 has a ton of them too.
Yeah, it's dreadful. And how many houses are there in a zip code area approximately?
Oh, it depends. Depends how it was originally zoned and expanded.
Oh, I get
I don't know how many zip codes there are. There's quite a few.
Uh-huh.
Yep. And each state has that. Like if you wanted to check, for example, Tennessee, I'm not sure how it's set up, or Florida. Any state has their own sex offender registry.
Oh, right. It's not a federal nationwide thing. It's a state.
Yes, it is.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, any state. Matter of fact, I think I could do it on the New York State one. Yes, I think I can do it. Type in a zip code from another state and find out. But I just search my own every now and then.
Yeah.
See if there's anything new.
Yeah, with something like that, it does allow people to kind of be on the lookout and be aware of what's going on around them.
Oh, yeah, and they have to notify a neighborhood when a new sex offender moves in the neighborhood.
And who does that? Is that the local council? Or?
The local. I'm not exactly sure who does that, but they're supposed to notify you. Yeah.
So is that one of the things that Mickey's fighting for, to have this implemented in this country?
It's been mentioned a few times, but I wouldn't know who the first person would be to contact about that. From what I've seen here, the only time you can find a sex offender's picture is if they've had a newspaper story with their picture published. Mm-hmm. But and if a sex offender is released from prison and he fails to register as a sex offender, whether it be first, second, third, fourth level, I think there's 4 levels, sex offender. If he fails to register, then he's put back in prison for failing to register.
That sounds fair enough.
Yeah. So, that's my story.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did have a special tune lined up for Mickey, and I suppose we'd take a few minutes break now so we can just get ourselves a drink, and I'll play this little tune for Mickey. If he listens back to the podcast, I'm sure he'll enjoy it. Good evening and welcome back to Enemy Within on peoplesinternetradio.com, where we are seeking solutions. And I'd just like to remind all our listeners that we are entirely funded by donations here. None of us make a red cent out of doing this. And any spare cash you've got that would help keep us going would be more than appreciated. If you go to the site, just below the player there's a donate button, and if you could drop a few pounds in, that would be more than helpful. And I believe it was Nick Nomick said the other week, if you don't like what we're doing, donate £100 and we promise to have a week off. So there you go. Welcome back, Tom.
For that, Dave.
Yeah, we don't need a week off. We enjoy doing what we're doing, don't we?
Of course. 5 times a week.
Yeah, I mean, it's always difficult covering subjects like Mickey and Lorraine's case, and child abuse is always difficult, but I think if there are people out there wanting to speak out, then we've got a platform and we've got to give those people a voice.
Well, it's very inspiring for people going through the same sort of thing, wanting to have an inquiry to go even further than that. So it does help people. I mean, we get comments all the time from people in the same field. It always amazes me that they keep such good spirits. Like Brian Clare, he's always happy, he's always smiling, he's always ringing us up randomly, having random chats. It's just amazing that they can keep it together and keep focused.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, Brian's another one I consider to be an inspiration. And the way I look at it, you know, anybody else who's going through this but we know from what we've been told that everyone's told, oh, nobody will ever believe you. Mickey's stated that himself, Brian's stated it, but we've got people who are speaking out publicly and making some headway, so hopefully that will give people a bit of encouragement to stand up and speak out. Exactly.
It's been a bit of a random show tonight because we had totally different guests lined up, and Lorraine come on, and now we've got Tom Crawford coming up.
Oh yeah, it was all changing every few minutes, right from about 6 o'clock onwards. I got a call from Frag saying, "Oh, Mickey's busy with another case; he can't make it." So if you listen to this on the podcast, Mickey, no worries, mate. You're doing great work.
I'll second that. It used to be always like that when I first started the show. We'd want one guest on, and then they'd bail out, and we'd end up with somebody else, and it'd be a cracking show anyway.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, we usually manage to waffle on for a couple of hours, even if we don't have a guest, can't we?
Exactly. Have you got another tune lined up, or are we going to get Tom straight in?
We'll play another tune, and then we'll bring Tom in. We've got Tina's found me a nice, appropriate one for tonight. Good evening, and welcome back to Enemy Within. And we're now joined by Tom Crawford. Good evening, Tom.
Good evening. How are you?
We're doing great, mate. How are you?
Yeah, we're very good, very good. Fighting the fight.
Yeah, well, we originally the plan was Mickey said he was going to get Mark Ceylon on, but I believe Mark's on Graham Hart's show straight after us. So I messaged Mark and said, "Have you got somebody come on and give a quick update?" Thinking we might get Kevin Mark or one of his other get out of debt free colleagues, and he came up with you. So there's a bonus.
So I got the short straw. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think we got the long straw.
No, he's a lovely lad, Mark. Even when he's not banged up, yeah, he's a hero. I tell you, for that six to do what they did, which is a bit of a surprise, was absolutely amazing. They put their own welfare at stake to show those criminals that people really do care what's happening.
Uh-huh. Do you want to give us an update then? There's been a lot of mixed stories across Facebook, and there's been a lot of lies, and there's been a lot of truth. So,
the trolls have come out by the score. But I'll give you the actual knowledge that has been supplied to me by different ones. They turned up very peacefully, got onto the roof, in through the skylight, and made themselves comfortable. They found some unexpected items in our loft, but I won't go into that because it would turn people's stomach, which, as I say, I won't go into it. It's a bit shocking what they found. But once it settled in, there was a lot of shouting and banging and dogs barking. And then the negotiators started, and basically all they were doing was stalling for time for this Manchester police team that take people off properties and out of difficult positions. They turned up and proceeded to take steel poles, ramming it up through my ceiling. Mm-hmm. The whole floor was lifting about 10 inches up with the force of it. In fact, one of the lads got hit in the ankle really badly through. So health and safety was certainly not an issue for them. They didn't care what they were doing. I've been told now that the ceiling is now collapsed. If those youngsters, well, I call them youngsters, had been there, they could have been killed. Mm-hmm. It's shocking. Then they escaped from that violence onto the roof itself, where that police team attempted to dislodge them by trying to put the steel rods through the roofing tiles. Well, I think everybody's seen Sue and my bungalow, how high it is up on a hill, and then the height of being up on the roof. Anyone going off there could have been killed very easily. They had no consideration whatsoever. So those people were absolutely magnificent. They said, "We might come down in an hour," when it first started. "Just show us the warrant." They couldn't get it. And as each hour passed, and then they went into the next day, which was amazing. They ended up at 4:00 in the afternoon. And they stayed up there and they came down peacefully. They've been charged with affray. It was violent behaviour, first of all, but the judge...
conspiracy to violent...
Conspiracy to violent disorder. But the judge said, "Oh, this isn't sufficient. There's more to this than..." He started to instruct the CPS to take affray, which is a more serious charge, which 6 months to 9 months in jail. And I think this is just to frighten them all, because none of it can stand. They couldn't do trespass because it was still my property. It's my son's shouting in the background. They couldn't charge him with trespass because they realised that my name and Sue's name was on the land registry. So we told them that they were our invited guests, so nothing should have happened. So there's the proof that it's still our property. And then my son, very early in the morning, these people were freezing. He ran up and threw some food up to them. He's been charged with breaking the window. Well, 12 hours earlier, the police were sticking their head through the broken window, trying to negotiate with them. So it's absolute nonsense from start to finish. They don't have a leg to stand on. And now the security guards gave a statement. I really do hope they go to court and swear an oath on these statements, because to be done for perjury and they'll end up in jail. They need jail now, but I think that's giving you a basic flavour of the actual events. It's been videoed. We've got video evidence. We've got every bit of documentation to prove there was no violence. They were well behaved. In fact, they had more concern about the security of the young lady there than those violent police that tried to push her off a roof.
I believe the police have taken Craig's phones as well, which means that he can't carry on his business, so they've taken away his means of earning a living.
Yeah. They also took all the clothes off the other 6 that they held in custody over the weekend, but I did say about Salon that it was probably the fashion police in his case.
Poor old Mark.
He's a lovely lad. He knows I'm joking. So they took all the phones and the clothes as if they're criminals. There was a barrister there, not involved in our case, who heard it all, and he says, "This is total nonsense." Mm-hmm. He says, "It'll get kicked out when it gets to Crown Court, but we don't want these charges kicked out, because once you're in the criminal jurisdiction, they have to produce everything, and I'm charged with assaulting a policeman with my hands behind my back, which is I didn't think I was that good, but that was only to get me out of the way, so I wouldn't be any trouble to them." But once again, they've shot themselves in the foot, because I will be making sure that they produce all the evidence now for my defence. I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Something that I did pick up on the reports that were coming out on Friday was that there was, I believe you've been to the High Court in London and got some kind of, is it an order or an injunction saying that they've got to produce the paperwork for seizing the property, and they haven't done that yet?
Well, what he's done, he's given me an order. We've actually found a good judge, and I won't talk about him just now until we've finished, but this particular judge, he's instructed them. He said, "I'll write a little note," and I thought, well, I don't know what they're going to do with a note, but when I got it from the office, it was actually an order requiring them to produce the warrants and the orders for the warrant, which is absolutely amazing. And of course they ignored it, and the police couldn't get it. So there's some things I can't mention just now, obviously, because it gives them a heads up, but they're in serious trouble.
Yeah, that's of course, you don't want to mention stuff that's going to weaken your case. And another thing that struck me as absolutely remarkable, and it's been mirrored by Mickey Summers, who was due to come on earlier, but his wife Lorraine came on instead, was when Guy Taylor went to Carlton Police Station to report a criminal offence with quite a large band of people. They locked the police station up and wouldn't come out, didn't they?
Yeah, I was there. It It's quite funny actually because we came to report a crime which was taking place and is still taking place to this day. They closed the police station and said, yes, somebody will be down in a few minutes. Half an hour later, nobody turned up. And so the time went on. So we dialed 999 and told them that we had captured a bunch of criminals. We had surrounded the building, and there was dead bodies outside. The reason why we said that is because there's a graveyard directly in front of it. So we weren't lying. But the 999 call, they paid no attention whatsoever to it. So complicit, and it doesn't matter which way you turn. You still there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm giving these pauses because I didn't know if you wanted to say something. So we also, somebody had a big pad, about 3 times the size of an A4, and wrote beep for justice for Tom Crawford. Every second car beeped. Even the buses going past read it and beeped. The support is absolutely amazing that we've got. Because I couldn't go to the area, although Sue went up and told them all off as she does. She's been absolutely brilliant. I went to a pub that I generally never go in, and I sat down there and took a few phone calls, and the landlady came up and she said, "There's a pint, Tom, and we're all behind you." And I've never met her in my life before. It's the support of the general public in Nottingham is outstanding. They're trying their best in the papers, on the television, to try and slate us, but the public know the truth. It's really, really brilliant.
Well, everybody I talked to people at work, there's not many people who don't even know about your story, and everybody's supportive. Everybody says it's absolutely disgraceful what's happened. Everybody I've met, I've never had one negative comment from anybody that I've actually talked to.
Well, I thank all those that give us our support. It's not just me, my wife, and my family is supporting. We're in a fight for everyone. We seriously are, and that's why they're throwing everything at us. They can't spend £1 million on taking over a debt of 45,000, which they're claiming, or 43,000. That wouldn't make economical sense, but what they're trying to do is shut us up because of the work we're doing behind the scenes, trying to put this, what we've been doing to save other people's properties, because they know PPI is going to be like pocket money when we get full success, because everybody in this country, their mortgages are going to be null and void, and they know it. So it is big. We're talking serious situation for them, and they're panicking. That's why they're doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, we had a family on from up in County Durham on Friday night. We've had them on once before, and they actually own the I can't remember what it's called, where you have clear title to the land.
That's it, clear title, yeah.
Yeah, they've got clear title to the land, but because the lady's ex-partner took out a mortgage to, I think she said it was buy a gym or something like that.
I know her. I went up to help her, and we were successful, but once again, they attacked when no one was around, as they do.
Yeah, well, she's got 1 or 2 guys up helping her now, and they've got an appeal going in, I believe, this week. But we did put out an appeal firstly for boots on the ground, and secondly, if anybody could chip in with a few items of food or something like that. And my partner Tina, she actually sent them a shop up the next day. And
that's nice.
The thank you I got from them was, they were in tears and I was in tears as well the next day. It was so moving. They were so grateful. Unfortunately, we couldn't get up there to help them, but we want to do everything we can to support people.
Well, this is it. We've got to do this. I mean, we've got. When I went up to see her to help, we got nothing. Seriously, we've got absolutely nothing. We've got a little bit, and that's what we paid for the petrol to get up there. We don't earn a penny by trying to help people, and we wouldn't take it even if we could. But mirroring what the gratitude that they showed you for that, we've got the same. Absolutely. We just, sometimes when I look at the stories people send us and the wishes and that, it brings a tear to my eye through almost like a guilt that I can't do anything for them. You know, it's our whole family is so thankful, and that's why we're battling to put it back for other people. You know, so it's do what you can for your fellow man.
Yeah, well, when I got in contact with Craig a few days, I can't remember what day it is now, never mind what day it was I got in contact with Craig, but he did send me the link to the website that you've got. That's UK Home Guard, isn't it? .com.
It hasn't been amended since the meeting because we've been so busy. We'll have to get that up, but all the videos are there. Yeah.
Yeah, I posted that on my Facebook page, and the first comment was, "I've read this. It's had me in tears. This needs to stop now."
Yeah. Well, look at it this way: if this happened to a family with children and they're sitting with nothing and not the support that we've got, can you imagine the situation, the desperation, the depression that they put in? And we've got to stop it. We seriously have to stop it. It's criminal. You know, these people should go to jail for what they're doing.
Yeah, I was listening to Vin's program the other night, and apparently there's more evictions actually taking place in Ireland than there are in the UK. So they're getting it way worse than we are at the minute, even though they've got a much smaller population. I think they're about 5 million as opposed to our 60 odd.
Well, actually, we got more evictions, but on a scale, they've got more. Yeah.
There's a couple of questions I've got on my Skype, just to clear up things that are floating around in the news and such. Are there 3 police officers showing support for you, and are your neighbours on side as the mainstream are trying to hint that they're not on your side? The police state.
Well, I'll give you a heads up. It's just been on the news. There's an old lady. She's slightly suffering. This house used to be her house, and she always wanted it back. She can buy it off me if she likes, you know. She's a little bit very aggressive. She swears at the children. She chases dogs and such like. So, and take what she says with a bit of salt. And then the other blonde woman, I actually went down when she had bailiffs trying to get into her house to help her. She did an interview a little while ago on ITV, and once the team left, another load of bailiffs turned up at her house for council tax. So I take that with a pinch of salt as well. She's, but 99% of her on our road, all round, they have been so supportive, every one of them. And I think all our supporters will verify that fact from the two times they came to help my family and myself. They've been brilliant. They used to take out tea and take them into the toilets, and it was a proper community. So what they did is they searched out two families or two individuals with a bit of a gripe. So you can't base the opinion on that. They did say this is. There are other opinions, I think they said at the end of it, to cover themselves.
That's what they call balanced reporting, is it?
Yeah, but they didn't interview them, did they?
No. I'm a thoroughly balanced person. I've got a chip on both shoulders.
Yeah.
Are there 3 police officers on your side, or any police officers on your side?
Right, lots of police officers are on our side. There was 3 crying. Some felt so ashamed. The funny thing is, the majority of them didn't come from Nottingham police. I think they've got the common purpose training really done well here. I think Mark Salon made a Freedom of Information, and I think they've had 146,000, or was it 1 million or something spent on common purpose training in the police force. So, but there was some Met coppers there with the white on their heads. You know, they had the cap, but the top part was white. I used to think they were the old-fashioned police, car police. That's what I used to think they were. But they were saying, I've never seen this. This is shocking. This isn't policing. I do not believe that these are genuine police that's here today. They were shocked. And even the lads, the barrister came up and he said what was happening is diabolical. You know, we're getting support. Maybe we're just turning the corner for a lot of people and a lot of police that seen when you start shouting, well, show us the warrant. And here's a high court order saying show us the warrant, and they won't do it. The police must go, why? You know, it's just the court. I go to the court nearly every second day, and it takes 15 minutes to drive there. And it's always open. The court is open 24/7 because there's got to be a judge there if they need a warrant to get into, let's say, somebody's home. They've attacked someone. They need a warrant to get in or whatever. 24/7 as a judge, they could easily get the warrant, but this was happening during the day, so that didn't even come into the equation. Police are turning. I do believe it.
Yeah, somebody's saying the police have contracts with security companies, so personally researched this out, promoted from bouncer to police grunt.
Yeah. There are many of them. I've said in a few shows now, this Freedom of Information, to see how much was spent, we estimate about £1 million. A better question would be for somebody to put Freedom of Information in to see how much Nottingham Police earned on the day. Because I think they got paid for it.
Oh, of course. But, I mean, the police themselves are getting cutbacks. So the humanity's got to come out of the cops. When we were at the Bilderberg protest a couple of years ago, we were saying that to the cops that G4S are going to take over roles and you're going to be cut yourselves, so you better start listening. And now the police, you're seeing it across the board, they are waking up to things like this. Hang on a minute, this is not what I signed up for.
Exactly. They signed up, but they see the television cops and robbers, don't they? And they think they're going to be part of that. They're not going to be sitting at the side of a road pulling up some old biddy without a seatbelt on or stealing a family's home. They didn't sign up for that. Well, I'm pretty sure they didn't. They didn't do that. But those that go along with it, if the good cop, or I'm calling them cops, if the good police know that there's something seriously going wrong, and there's bad police, they're worse than the bad police because they're permitting it to happen, so they're culpable as well. So really, there is no good police. That's the bottom line.
Well, it's this old line, you see it in the videos at your house. I'm just following orders, and the people saying that's what the Nazis said. And say, it's not the same comparison. Well, yes, it is, because that's where it starts. Blindly following orders is where that starts.
Right now, we're at the start of 1939. Seriously. When they can kick in doors and take people out of their homes, that was the start of it. And the identification, you've got to carry identification, and the searching of vehicles, and then getting people to tell tales on their neighbours. And, we're just at that now, and we're not far away from going into the full fascist state. And that's why in Scotland right now, all the police forces have amalgamated into Scotland Police Force, where there used to be Grampian, there used to be Lothian, and you could complain from one to the other. Now you can't, because they're all the same. coming to England, so it'll be a police state down here in Wales. It's really starting now. The fascist state is, they've had their plan, and it's only us people that can stop them. You can't sit back because we are in a war.
Yes, Tom. Lee in the chat room has put up a link for us there, and it's a link from the Daily Fail. It says, police forces hand £470,000 to group dubbed the Left-Wing Freemasons for training purposes. Common Purpose offers training courses to police for £5,000 per week. Organisation described as Left-Wing Freemasons by a Tory MP. Trustee is co-founder of the group behind the Hacked Off press campaign. Met Police, who are leading phone hacking probe, spent $60,000 on training.
Yeah.
And that's Common Purpose. It's a cancer throughout our alleged hierarchy, isn't it?
Yeah. You mentioned left wing. Right wing's the same because a bird needs both wings to fly, and there's no difference between left and right. They're both got the same cancer, and whichever way, we're the body in the middle that's taking all the beating from them.
Well, it's like Tom says, left-right wing thing. It's just a false paradigm to get people to make a choice between two lesser evils. Do you want a punch in the face or a kick in the bollocks?
Yeah, that's very true. It's exactly the same. But what we got to do is persuade peacefully, because if we can't do that, then we will be into riots and such, and that they want us to push to that point. That's why the police were so aggressive at the eviction. That's why they panicked when we had a meeting and decided to go up to our local to thank the landlady up there for supporting us for all this time. And they absolutely panicked and sent everything on a spur of the moment with, I think there was 15 vehicles, squad cars, 3 riot vans, 3 armed police response on that day, and it was only about 30 to 40, and the majority were women. So, if they got money like this to spare, what's happening to the cutbacks?
Well, the cutbacks are only for us plebs who, we're dispensable according to them. They want to get rid of us, stop us polluting their air and their land, don't they? Yeah,
that's true. They look down upon us like an infestation in their world. We're less than human. That's why they think they can do anything and everything to us. And it's only because our ancestors used to stand up to them that stopped them. Yeah. Unfortunately, with the invention of television and all the keep them busy and distracted, and we'll pick their pockets, and then we'll take whatever they've got, even their lives. That's what they're doing. And the general population, I always equate it to Animal Farm. On that one, if you keep the animals well fed and watered, just, not too much, just enough for them to feel content. But if you do the opposite and you neglect them, they riot, and that's what happened in Animal Farm, which basically that was communism, but I'm not political in any way.
Yeah.
But providing they keep the majority of the population in a type of comfort with the threat of losing that comfort, they've got control. And they're right in the wire just now.
So what you were talking earlier about the trolls attacking, is there a professional trolling operation against you? Because I say that because Paula from Milk Bank Farm in Durham, when she was on our show, the one or now, she was having a professional trolling operation against her, and we got attacked just for having her on the show.
Yeah, I know who did that, and we've got friends that look into a lot of these people. I never name names. What I suggest you do is just look at those that's behind the scenes, and somebody might make a terrible suggestion and look at the likes, and then I did go to Bolton, which was very difficult for me because it was the day after the eviction.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to knuckle under these people. And I did ask at the time, if there's anyone who wants to call me a liar or dispute something, I'll put one chair on the stage here and I'll sit in the other and we'll debate it. And nobody came up.
You could have heard a pin drop, Tom.
And yeah, there was definitely some people in the audience there that had been slagging me off. And then, lo and behold, within 2 days, they were back doing the same thing. They just had no courage to stand up and face it. So, but there again, they're not worth the time to even bother with. But sometimes we may have to respond to them when they're misleading the people, because misinformation, that was one of the things they used during the war. It's any war. That's one of the tactics. I can remember people talking about Lord Haw-Haw, which was a radio presenter, and he was demoralizing the soldiers, saying, no, they had the names of people, and they'd pick them out and say, oh, she's sleeping with someone, or she's on her deathbed, and of course these poor soldiers didn't know what to do. Well, that's exactly the same ploy they're playing today, just misinformation. So use your own common sense. If somebody's slagging somebody else off, there's something wrong with them. If you got a problem with someone, do it privately, message them, email them, keep it that way.
I'd like to say we've got a very well-informed chat room at People's Internet Radio, and although you didn't want to name names, Tom, they have been named in the chat room, or certainly one name that I've seen, and it was a name that was mentioned to me quite a few times when we were over at Bolton that day.
Yeah, well, I won't.
No,
I won't do that because I don't want to get down to their level. It's people know who they are.
Absolutely,
but there are professional ones out there. The one I think you're thinking about, I think he's just a dickhead. I'm sorry to say that, but there are professionals out there, and they're very good at it. There was one that did upset me. There was a photo, and they'll probably do this now that I've said it. I was holding one of my grandchildren up, and they put a photo of Jimmy Savile beside it. I thought that's just quite sick, considering that I'm on Mickey Summers on the child abuse board. So yeah, that's how low they go.
Well, like I said, I saw it with Paula. I looked at the profiles. A lot of them were just fake profiles anyway. They've just cropped up all of a sudden, and they were all coming out with exactly the same spiel, just going round in circles, saying exactly the same things. So we just had to ban them from the page.
Yeah, that's what you do. They come back again as something else. But another ploy they do, and they may not slag you off, they're already on your Facebook page. The ploy is what they do, once there's a really good post up that might help someone, they post maybe about 10 posts within minutes, and then it pushes that good post down to the bottom and people don't find it. Mm-hmm. That is an absolute obvious sign of something not being right. Mm-hmm. We know these things. You know those things as well. Yeah. But, that's negative. We've got to really look at the positive. We're talking about negatives here, and we shouldn't really be doing that. We shouldn't feed these negatives. What we should be doing is, this time last year, just about the 23rd of July, when I made that little appeal and it came out and it went massive. The movement that's grown and the awareness that's gone within 12 months, we need to keep that momentum up. We need to waken the population up. So if we can do the same again, and then you reach a tipping point, I think they say it's 2.5% of the population. If they waken up, that's it, they're finished. Because then it explodes. Just now, there's only about 1%. 1% knows what's happening. And 1% is doing it to the other percent, to the other 99%. We need to just push on. So tell everyone, and if they got any doubts, show them. You know, the evidence is there to be seen. It's not a conspiracy theory. Although there is a new charge that I found a little while ago, which will tickle most people. It's called common law conspiracy, and that means that any group that plan to do something to someone or a group of people, if it causes the general public to be outraged, it's a common law conspiracy, jailable by 6 years. And how many times have they done that? And it's only been them that's been using that conspiracy against us. Now we learned about it, it's going back on them.
Well, surely, Tom, isn't this the Criminal Justice Act 2015, Section 26? Isn't that useful, or is that just completely ignored?
Oh, they ignore it. It's like, I don't know, what could you say? If you ignore something and then don't use it in the end, you know, it's pointless even quoting it, but we'll be using it. Uh-huh. You know, you can't threaten someone because there's only a threat. Make a promise and keep to the promise. And I promise under Section 26 of the Court and Justice Act, or the Justice and Courts Act 2015, I will prosecute every one of those police officers. And that's Nick Clark, who I whispered in his ears. I said, I will make sure it's my duty to get you in court for your criminality. And he said, well, I'll just take stress leave. And I said, well, in that case, I'll just come after your property like you did me.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to say also, we like to hear both sides of the story. So if there's any members of the establishment who think they've been treated unfairly in what Tom said here, they're more than welcome to come on and discuss that with us. Do you think we'll get any, Tom?
No.
You may. They do have professional spin doctors that come on. They did it on the 27th, I think it was, when Bradford and Bingley set their spin doctors, very expensive people, and they couldn't win. They couldn't win because they can't beat the truth, and all I did was tell them the truth, and they floundered. And all the national press wouldn't let me use the words I wanted to use. They censored everything. All they wanted was cancer victim attempted eviction, and they pressed on the cancer. And I think everybody knows I won't go down that route. I don't need sympathy. What we need is support, not for me or my family, but for the movement itself, to stop them evicting families, old people, young people, you know, disabled people. You know, that's the way. We can't let those, I can't insult them to a point where they're subhuman, but for what they're doing is not far away when you do something to another member of your own society, to cause them so much damage and to take money for it. It's to me, it's beyond belief.
Mm-hmm. I did hear Vin's show on Sunday night. He was saying, well, when you take a family's home off them and throw them out on the streets and take away all their belongings, it's genocide. You might just as well shoot them all in the head at the same time.
No, the definition of genocide doesn't mean death. Mm. It actually means just what you said. When you put them in a position that they've got nothing, turning them in. I mean, right now, if we were in another country, we'd be classed as refugees. They smashed our home now. They've defiled our home, and I won't go into the details of that. Mm. They've destroyed so much of our stuff. We may get a little bit back. Don't know yet. certainly not our valuables. They've certainly been stolen. We watched, it's been documented, the vehicles have been put, our goods have been going into private vehicles, disappearing. So, as I said before, it's not just the 27 years that Sue and myself have lived in that house. We've been married 36 years, all that we collected in that time. And then I've worked for 49 years, and that was in the house. So they've destroyed everything we've ever had and stolen it, and left us not even with a toothbrush. And I've got to thank my son, because if he'd been 12, I wouldn't have got into his clothes, but he's grown up, so he gave me something. So that's what we ended up with. Unbelievable.
You've certainly got a remarkable family there, Tom.
No, I don't think we are. I think the majority of families found in the same situation would do the same. You don't know what you've got until... A lot of people said this during the war, you know, they were bombed and that, and then they found their strengths, and then they found their communities. It's not little close. 3 families have been, or the properties have been repossessed. Unbelievable. One, they tried to do it up, ran out of money, and then the one in the corner where the blonde woman was repossessed as well. So it is a war we're in. It's unbelievable. But the people, I think the average family has got exactly the same spirit. It just needs, they don't find themselves in our situation. It's there. It is in their hearts.
Yeah, I suppose that's the Blitz mentality, isn't it? When your back's really up against the wall, that's when you come out fighting.
Yeah. Well, you can't go through the wall, so you can only go forward. And that's what we've done. And we've done it remarkably well for them to have attacked us so well. You know, they know that we might... John Hurst says a really, really good saying. He says, you know when you're over the target is when you're taking flak. You know, that's like the airplanes during the war. You weren't over the target, nothing be fired at you. We're over the target. And,
yeah. I like that phrase so much, Tom. I borrowed it and used it myself a couple of times since I heard it.
I think we owe him a few quid then, or a pint.
Yeah, probably, yeah. When I meet up with John, I'll buy him a beer.
Yeah, he's a lovely man. Very clever.
You're talking about the Blitz mentality. I've been saying on the show for some time, it's something that they're trying to get rid of. It's something that we pride ourselves on, being British, a Blitz mentality. We don't let the enemy win. We don't let terrorists win. And now the government wants to keep us in constant fear. The media's helping. The latest, don't go on holiday because you might be killed by terrorists. Well, isn't that totally against our mentality of just getting on with things and not letting us win?
Does that mean I can't go to Scotland for a holiday now then? Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Providing they keep you in fear of whether you're losing your job or fear of terrorism or fear of whatever, it's a controlling factor. And as I say, when I was ill, before I was ill, I was probably one of the best slaves. You know, I got out, fed the family 6 days a week, worried about the bills, always paid them until I got ill. The only time I didn't pay it was 2006 when I tried to use, withdrew from paying them, and then not knowing the law, thinking, they'll do something now and put it right. And then they went to possess the home. So even back then, and that was a quick learning curve, so we paid. It's a fear, and that's why people haven't got long-term contracts like when I was young. People are living from hand to mouth now. They don't realise it, but yeah, as long as you got enough money to buy the latest pair of trainers or latest television, and yet whatever you had before did exactly the same job, but you must have it, or there's something wrong with you. It's fantastic trade. I got to take my hat off. They're very, very clever, the way they manipulate people. But
it's the old Frankfurt School subversion. We've got a lovely message there for you, Tom, from Patrick in the chat room, and he says, Tom, don't worry. This crap they're throwing at you is coming their way big time. Love to you and your family.
Yeah, well, I thank her for that, and so does my family. They're not here just now. She's out. I think she's Tesco's supporting, another corrupt lot.
Well, we did have a guest on Saturday, Tom, and he said he brought his children up very well. He always taught them that whenever you go in Tesco's, it's your duty to steal something. So.
No, it's not. No, you can't do that. No, they're doing the stealing off the farmers and off everyone else, but don't lower yourself to their standards.
Oh, they are absolutely evil. I worked as a truck driver for 20 odd years, and I have never been treated so badly, treated as subhuman as when I used to go to a Tesco distribution centre, taking them food to sell in their supermarket. But I wasn't allowed to go inside the building for a pee without a security guard stood behind me. And I wasn't, even if I was there 12 or 15 hours, wasn't allowed in the building to get something from the vending machine to eat. And they wouldn't even let me out of the compound to go across the road to get a butty. So I knocked the barrier down and got the gate guard arrested.
Yeah, well, they've been destroying food that the poor could have had. Mm. Spoiling it, pouring stuff on it, and it's. Now we're entering another discussion. I better not go there because you'll get me on all night then. But it's the positives. We're talking about negatives all the time. We've got to really emphasise what we're doing right. As I was trying to say, about taking the flat, we're doing something right. So now we've got to carry on. Do your research. If you got any doubts, look it up and don't take anyone's word for anything. Check it out, and if what's there is correct, follow it. If it's not, put it on the back burner in case it may be right, and and you haven't got all the information. But yeah, I think we've turned the corner. Something remarkable happened on the 23rd of July. I keep on saying this. People weeks later were walking around with a smile on their face because nobody stood up to these criminals the way it happened before. And it happened that day, and it's taken off. That's why they've thrown so much at us. It was like pushing a large snowball up the top of a hill. Now we've gone over the peak, I think, and it's picking up its own momentum, and I don't think they can stop it. It's going to turn into an avalanche that's going to bury them, and you're right. That gentleman who said that, the crap is coming their way, and it's going to be an avalanche, and let's hope we can jail them all.
It's just reminded me of the only single bit of Shakespeare that's stuck in my brain since I left school, and that was from a speech in Julius Caesar, and it said, "There's a tide in the affairs of men, which taken at the flood leads on to fortune. Omitted, all the voyages of their lives are bound in shallows and in miseries." There's some truth in there.
Yeah. I'm sorry, the dogs, Sue's come back with our two dogs. We lost one, as you know.
Absolutely.
My dog, and they were all from the same litter. And they're getting on now, so they won't be with us much longer, unfortunately. But, that was wise words from, did you say Julius Caesar?
Yeah. I think it was at the funeral of Caesar. It was said by Mark Antony.
Yeah, that's it. Well, Shakespeare, whether he wrote it or many people wrote it, as they say nowadays,
there's a lot of questions.
Some fantastic stuff in there. Mm-hmm. Same as there is with a lot of the old poets. Even if you can understand it, it's very difficult. Even Robbie Burns, lots of his stuff, because it was for the working man. In fact, at one time he was the national. You're gonna love this one. The national poet for Russia, because he was a working man, talking about working men. I think they told us in the past a lot of the truths of the future, and we're now finding them because education is very poor now.
One of the books, I mean, I wasn't big on Shakespeare when I was at school. I was a working class lad. Shakespeare was just way over my head. But one of the books that did really hit home with me was Orwell's 1984. And I had an English teacher who was quite perceptive, and he said to me, "This is happening. You're going to see this in your life." And I said, "Really?" And then within a couple of years, I mean, I left school in 1980, I think, and within a couple of years, I could see it everywhere.
Yeah, well, welcome to it, because we're in it. And in fact, we're so far in it, we're near the end of that film or that book. When we get there will be no going back, you know. So, yeah, he was a prophet almost.
Well, I think that this is the tidying the affairs of men. This is the make or break, the muck or nettles moment, and it's up to us to turn it the way we want it.
Yeah, well, as I say, I was just an ordinary tradesman, and now what I see, I regret not. My education was all right, you know, and in fact, I suppose it's far superior to what the children got today. But what I'm seeing, I do thank my education back then, because I think I can analyse a bit more than the youngsters, because the rubbish that they're having to absorb, which is once again distractions. It's such a shame, because the youngsters are our future, and if we don't give them the education, they'll just absorb the nonsense on television and think that's life.
Well, it's only the people at the top who get a classical education. People at the bottom just get the education to be a serf.
Yeah, they must get Latin. They must learn Latin, because there's so many things in Latin that is very revealing. The English language is contaminated by so many misleading words that's been added to it. It's yeah.
And just like Orwell, they, in 1984, they've changed the meaning of so many words. I mean, the classic one that springs to mind with me is when I was at school, the word gay meant happy and jolly. Now, you say I'm happy and jolly, but you say I'm gay, people will snigger at you.
Well, what about this one then, which is a total reversal? Mm-hmm. That's bad.
Yeah. Wicked, yeah.
Yeah. You're using words that means the absolute reverse of that. Uh-huh. You know, oh, that's good, that's great. You know, that's the proper use of the word. But when you say bad, you know what bad means. So why use it to make it seem good?
Yeah.
You know, confusing people.
I mean, Lee's come up with an excellent quote from 1984 there. I believe it was when Winston asked about the future. He said, if you want to know the future, Winston, just imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever.
Yeah.
And if we're not careful, that's where we're going to be soon.
Well, you want to know or help you with the future, look at the past. And the past has been full of dictatorship and fascism. And whether it's socialism or capitalism, both have caused mayhem and have taken billions of lives. More people dying because of government decisions than murders of individuals or terrorism or any other form. Maybe we should ban governments and save a lot more lives.
Well, every time there's a people's revolt, the history is rewrote, so the real story doesn't come out, so there's not a revolt again in the future. And that's what the mainstream media is doing now, they're rewriting history in real time. Yeah,
that's absolute spot on. One of my favourite songs, I'll play it from time to time, Jonathan, the Family Mad, is Les Miserables. Do you hear the people sing? Which is the one, the angry people standing along while the soldiers are marching, and then they rebel. Very, very good song, that one.
Mm-hmm. Just had a message from Frags. He said, I had a call from Sky today asking if I wanted Sky TV. I said no, it was propaganda and it's bad for my mental health. They noted that down.
I get them from time to time, Sky or BBC, won't speak to BBC. ITV, they've blotted their copybooks today. Our local paper has all really gone to town on us now because we won't speak to them. They're trying to punish us by misrepresenting the actual view worse than they normally do. You name them. The only one that's ever given us proper coverage was RT. And that's because basically that this is the type of thing they want here in Russia. So it's what we need is our own televisions and our own radio stations like yourself. That's what's needed. Talk to the people, from the people. I
mentioned it a couple of times on this show. There used to be an old guy lived next door to my parents. And he was a radio operator in the army, a sergeant, and he had a radio in the house. And when he died, a lot of his stuff was getting thrown out because one of his sons was a real arsehole. So what my dad was doing was taking all of the stuff out of the bin and giving it to the daughter who was okay. But all these books started coming out, the Russian view on this, the Russian view on this, the Russian view on this, and you're like, is he a Russian spy or something? And this was before the days of RT. And then when RT came out, it just dawned, it was like, oh, he just wanted the other side of the story.
Yeah. This is it. If you don't get a balanced view, you're imbalanced and you will be liable to absorb propaganda. And believe you me, both sides use propaganda. That's the tool of the war. And we are in that right now.
Oh, yeah, Ken said in the chat room earlier on, people need to wake up and realise we're under attack. I really like the I am Tom Crawford movement that's happening on Facebook and Twitter, people changing the profile pictures, because that's exactly what it is. Everybody is Tom Crawford, because they can attack anybody now.
That did make me laugh when the negotiator saying, what's your name? And they're going, Tom. What's your name, Tom? That did tickle me, that did. But,
we've just got a little comment in there from Vin, and he said, yup, we are the media now, folks.
Yeah, well done, yeah. You keep up the good work and get the news out there as facts, not as fiction. That's the thing. I've said this before. If, I don't know how old everyone's there in your studio, but if Watergate happened today, there would not be one reporter capable of investigating it like it happened back then to bring down a president. In fact, nowadays, even if you did, the president wouldn't resign anyway. But yeah, we don't have the press that could do that job now.
Well, it's like if you had conclusive proof of who killed JFK, you couldn't take that to the mainstream media; they wouldn't even report it. Yeah.
No. I think he's living in the Bahamas with Diana.
And Elvis.
Yeah, that's right. No, he's at the chip shop.
Margaret Thatcher's corpse and Jimmy Savile, yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a lot. Well, once again, it's shocking what's coming out, about, doesn't matter if it's the councils, the police, every department that's supposed to take care of, not even take care, are responsible to their paymasters, the public. They think it's the other way around. They're telling the public what to do. It's incredible. And people see it, they know what's happening, and they accept it. If I was given a job, because I promised to do the job, and then I didn't do the job, I'd be sacked. But when an MP gets into the House of Parliament and says, yeah, it was a good promise back then, but I've changed my mind, he should be sacked. Mm-hmm. That's what should happen.
Well, you've chosen a particularly apt music track for finish off the show, Tom. So to fit that in, we'll need to go pretty soon. But have you got any links you'd like to give out to people who haven't come across you, or tell them where they can find more information?
Oh, yeah, well, on the Facebook, if you go to Eviction, Fraud of the Bank, that's as it's said, as it's written, and ukhomeguard.com. So
that's
brilliant.
www.
Sorry,
Yeah, that's brilliant, Tom. Thank you very much.
Sorry. And the song you're about to play may help with my bungalow as well.
Yes, it would. And I'd just like to say, everyone, thanks for tuning in. We'll be on Spreaker tomorrow night with our Paul, our high-level financial insider. We'll be on for an hour at 9 o'clock. And then we'll be back on Friday night when we've got Yulik Lee. So have a great evening and stay tuned for Graham. And we'll catch you later, folks.
Thanks a lot.
Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, thanks.